Ever feel like you're stuck in the wrong place? Like totally out of your element? Kind of like a robot washed up on a shore doesn't get.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Well, that's the heart of the wild robot. And it's what makes this movie more than just another cute animation, right?
Totally.
We're diving into what critics are saying about DreamWorks' latest, but more importantly, why it's hitting people right in the feels.
What's got me is how this film works on so many levels. Critics are loving it, yeah, but it's really connecting with people emotionally. You see it everywhere.
Right. I mean, one review called it a mature kids film, and I was like, yes, that's
Yeah.
it. Like, it's not talking down to kids at all. Were you getting that same vibe?
Totally. The Wild Robot tackles these big themes like love, acceptance, especially found family, and it does it in a way that works for kids and adults. Like when Roz, the robot, is trying to, talk to the animals, you feel that frustration, that desire to connect, even if you don't speak the same language.
And the way they animated Roz, her
Wow.
expressions, genius, even without dialogue.
Oh, for sure.
It reminded me of those quiet moments in Wall-E, which, speaking of, let's talk about the star. Roz is stranded on this island after a shipwreck. Talk about a vacation gone wrong.
Right. And that's where her journey really takes off. She's learning to survive, building these incredible bonds with the animals, all while figuring out what it means to be, well, almost human.
Some reviews are comparing her to Wall-E,
Mhm.
even Baymax a little, and I get it, that whole mix of being mechanical but also compassionate.
Yeah.
But with Roz, it's like her journey into what it means to feel. That's huge here, right?
Huge. It's this beautiful exploration of nature versus nurture. I mean, she wasn't programmed to feel emotions, to get attached, but there she is raising this orphan gosling. She's becoming part of this wild family.
Okay, that scene where she first holds baby Fink and the music swells.
Yeah.
Chills. Literal chills.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the visuals for a sec? I mean, this island is practically its own character.
Stunning. Seriously, the 3D animation is breathtaking. Some of those shots look like they belong in a museum, no joke.
And the score by Chris Bowers.
Don't even get me started.
It doesn't just play in the background, it like pulls you into the emotion of the whole thing.
Exactly. It amplifies it. Remember that scene where
Yes. Goosebumps.
every time.
DreamWorks went all out for this one. I mean, even the voice cast is insane. Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal. Come on.
And the reviews are reflecting that. There's this feeling that it's more than just another animated film. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Some are even saying it could be a contender for Best Animated Feature.
Wow. I did see one review. They gave this whole resume for a timeless animated movie. And guess what? The Wild Robot checks every box.
I guess. Stunning visuals.
Check. Relatable themes.
Check, check.
But the one that really got me, they talk about anthropomorphism.
Yeah. That's a powerful tool. Using animal characters to explore human emotions, and it works for all ages.
Right.
And in The Wild Robot, that lets us deal with some pretty heavy stuff. Loss, belonging, all that. But through a different lens.
We experience it through the animals, even though they're, talking and acting like us. One review compared it to Wall-E. Wall-E used a cockroach, but kept it more realistic.
Oh.
And they actually preferred that. What do you think about that?
That's where it gets interesting, right?
Right.
That reviewer felt Wall-E because it was more visual, less dialogue, had more subtlety, more emotional impact. They felt like The Wild Robot, by making the animals so human-like, lost a bit of that.
So they wanted the animals to be less.
Talkative, basically. I can see that. But wait, didn't that same review also have thoughts about how the human world was portrayed in the film? That caught my eye.
Totally. They felt like the human world was kind of underdeveloped,
Yeah.
especially compared to how rich the island is.
Yeah.
And they felt like they missed an opportunity to explore the dystopian side of a society hooked on tech,
Which is interesting, right? Because even though the humans are kind of in the background, that contrast makes what it means to be human stand out even more, and we're seeing it through a robot. Exactly. Makes you wonder, if Roz can find her place out in the wild, maybe there's hope for us to find our own sense of belonging too, even when we feel totally out of place.
Okay, wow. Deep thoughts already, and we're just getting started. Before we jump ahead too much, though, let's talk about one character who really drives home that idea of finding your place. Fink, Roz's little gosling son. Fink's journey For me, that's where the heart of the film really is, you know?
I agree.
He's like the embodiment of found family, you know,
Mm-hmm.
adapting, finding a way to thrive, even when life throws you a curveball.
Totally. And the animators nailed it with Think. They really captured that awkward, clumsy, but super cute phase Goslings go through as they're growing up. There's this one scene where he's trying to fly for the first time, and his little legs are just churning.
Oh, I remember that. I laughed out loud. It was so relatable, even for a CGI bird. Which reminds me of something else the reviews were saying about those moments, you know, the
Yeah.
ones that make you feel that happy, sad thing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. That bittersweet mix, it's crucial, I think. The movie doesn't shy away from the realness of life, even though it's a story for families. Were there any moments like that that really got to you?
Oh, for sure. Remember that scene with, you mentioned a specific scene involving Fink and loss. Oh, man, right in the feels,
Yeah.
the music, the way Roz reacts. It was rough, but so well done.
You know, that reviewer we talked about, the one who preferred Wally's subtler approach, they might have appreciated how that scene used the visuals and music to get the emotion across, rather than dialogue.
Good point. It's like we're feeling those raw emotions right there with Roz, even though she's not showing it the way a person would. Maybe that's why it hit so hard.
Yeah, maybe. And that goes back to what makes The Wild Robot so special. It works on different levels. On the surface, you've got this heartwarming adventure, but underneath, it's dealing with some really deep stuff. Connection, loss, what it even means to be alive.
And people are picking up on that. I mean, some critics are going as far as to say this is the best DreamWorks film yet, which
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
big claim.
It is. But it shows you the quality of this film. And remember, these are people comparing it to, giants like Wall-E.
Okay, so if they're putting it in that league, I'm even more impressed. It really does sound like The Wild Robot is a lot more than just a cute kids movie. It's got depth, you know. It's got heart, and it's got something to say.
Exactly. It sticks with you, makes you think, maybe even shed a tear or two.
Speaking of tears, we got to talk about the voice acting for a sec. One review I read, they raved about Lupita Nyong'o as Roz. Said they didn't even realize it was her at first.
Wow, now that's a compliment. Her voice brings so much to Roz. You believe in her journey, her struggles, her joy. You feel it.
And the rest of the cast is stellar. I mean, Pedro Pascal, Mark Hamill, Kit Connor. Everyone's on their A game, even if some of them are playing, well, talking animals.
That's true. And the way their voices work with the animation, the music, the story, it blends together to create this experience, this really immersive and moving experience.
It's like The Wild Robot found the magic formula for a modern animated classic, you know? It's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking, and it's just gorgeous to look at. What more could you ask for?
You said it. It's a movie everyone should see no matter how old you are. There's something in it for everyone, whether you want a fun family film or something that makes you think about what it means to be human.
And speaking of being human, let's go back to that idea of feeling out of place for a minute.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me, and I think a lot of people feel that way sometimes. It's like she's literally a fish out of water.
Right.
Or, well, a robot out of the factory.
Right.
But that feeling, being lost, trying to figure out where you belong, that's something we all go through, don't you think?
Absolutely. We've all been there, feeling adrift, looking for a connection somewhere, anyone. And in The Wild Robot, it shows us, through what Roz goes through, that it's not about fitting in.
It's about being yourself.
Exactly. It's about owning who you are and the connections you make along the way, however you find them.
And sometimes those connections, they come from the most unexpected places.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, who'd guess a robot and a gosling would form this, like, tight bond?
Right. It's about empathy, compassion, even between different species. Or in Roz's case, robot and, well, living creature.
Okay, now that's kind of blowing my mind. But it's true. It makes you rethink what it means to connect, to love, to be a family, all those things we think we know.
Exactly. And it makes you think about the walls we build, right? Not just between each other, but between us and nature. Between tech and, like, actual feelings. This movie really makes you think.
It does. You've got the makings of a classic animated film, the visuals, the story, laughs, tears. But then it goes there, you know.
Yeah.
It asks the bigger questions about our place, what it all means. And that's what makes it more, when you say,
100%. It's the kind of film that sparks conversations after it's over. Those late night talks, the what does it all mean moments. That's how I know something's really got me thinking. When it stays with you, makes you see things differently, maybe even yourself.
I got to say, starting this deep dive, I knew I liked the movie, but hearing all this, I kind of want to watch it again with fresh eyes. Pay attention to all the stuff we've been talking about.
Me too. I think we'd catch so much more the second time around. Especially after digging into the layers, the animation, the music, even just the characters' names. There's more there than you think.
It just shows you the wild robot, it's like Roz, full of surprises.
Yeah.
So if a robot can figure it out, learn to adapt, to love, find a place in a world that wasn't made for it, well, maybe there's hope for us,
That's a nice thought.
isn't it?
Then maybe just like Roz, we can each find our own way to make things a little brighter, a little more connected, one real moment at a time.
And that is a wrap on another deep dive. We hope you're inspired to check out The Wild Robot. Maybe even have some of those what does it all mean chats with your people. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep diving deep.